This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Today on Rescue 911. Keys in the ignition. A car on the loose backs into a total nightmare.
My son just got run over by a car.
He looked like he was on deathbed.
We told him we loved him.
Plus, when cops confront a dangerous suspect,
Drop the gun!
a police dog risks its life.
Marco had been shot.
On Rescue 911.
We begin in Riverdale, Georgia, on the afternoon of February 25th, 1994, where 3-year-old identical twins Michael and Andrew Payne were playing in the front yard while their father, Darrell, kept an eye on them.
What are y'all doing, washing your Jeep? Twins. They don't know what to do without each other. Michael, he's more outgoing than Andrew is. He likes to play more. But Andrew, he always follows them and tries to keep up with them. They play together real good. Sure do. I turned the ignition on to listen to the radio.
Y'all wash it. Don't squirt each other, okay?
They was both over there washing the Jeep at the same time.
Kids don't wear paper towels.
I walked into the house to get some more paper towels. When I heard it pop out of gear, I just wanted to make sure Michael and Andrew was okay. Michael was crying because it scared him.
Come on, let's go.
I thought Andrew was still cleaning up his Jeep. And then I looked up. He was just lying on the pavement still. He wouldn't even move.
When we continue,
I didn't think there was a chance for Andrew to even survive. I kept telling him, we need the ambulance here now. We got to get him here. The boy needs him now. He's not going to make it.
Stay right here. Plank County Emergency 911. Yeah, my son just got run over by a car. He's hurt. What did he get hit by? A car. A car. He's laying in the driveway.
from her backyard across the street, Evelyn Finn had heard the crash.
I didn't even know if he was dead or alive because he wasn't moving at all. All I saw was he was on his face and the blood just running down the driveway.
Neighbor Ken Liederbach also came over to help.
When I saw her bend over, Andrew, it looked like a pile of rags to me. I put my hand on him, on his back, and I could see blood was coming out of his ear. And I knew the left side of his face was crushed.
He's bleeding from the head. Okay. Hurry!
Clayton County dispatcher Yvonne Lovett was handling the call.
He was really scared that he was going to die. You just try to keep comforting them, letting them know, you know, it's going to be okay, and you really hope it is going to be okay.
All right, tell him not to put too much pressure on his head, just enough to stop the blood, okay?
Stay with us. I didn't think there was a chance for Andrew to even survive. I could see my daughter laying there. I kept telling him, we need the ambulance here now. We got to get him here. The boy needs him now. He's not going to make it.
Within 5 minutes of the call, a Clayton County Fire Med unit arrived, including paramedic Todd Graves.
You could tell it was just a load and go situation, you know. He had a lot of swelling to his head and a lot of deformity. He needed to be at the hospital.
When his face came up, it was like chalky white. It was just so terrible. I can't explain the feeling.
Brian, go get me some electrodes out of the ambulance, will you?
I knew only a miracle would save him.
The helicopter came in and did a hot land where they don't cut the engines off. We just carry the patient right over, load them up, and then they're gone. Just that quick.
After they airlifted Andrew off, I came up here and called my wife. She ain't got to work yet. So I told her daddy at work what has happened. I told him that Andrew has got ran over by a car.
All right, here he comes.
3-year-old Andrew Payne was admitted to Eggleston Children's Hospital under the care of neurosurgeon Joseph Petronio.
His respiratory status was failing. He was not breathing well. He was not moving a lot of air, and all of this would only serve to make his brain swelling worse. Close up and take a look at him.
We'll take it off in a second. Look.
His eyes were deformed and they were separated, and his nose was fractured and actually pushed back between the eye sockets. He had fractures of many of the bones of his skull. The frontal bone was actually forced through the dura, the membrane that covers the brain. Contusion, hemorrhagic contusion. We were very concerned about his chances for survival.
Jan Payne joined her husband as soon as she could get to the hospital.
When I arrived, it was more like I was in shock. Daryl told me that it was his fault and that Andrew was going to die. And I just told Daryl he can't think that you got to keep positive towards Andrew.
Mr. and Mrs. Payne? Hi, I'm Dr. Petronio, one of the neurosurgeons.
We were very frank in our discussion with the Paynes. I told them that there is not a great deal of experience with children that have had such severe crushing injuries to the head that have survived, and there were many things that could potentially go wrong.
Just before Andrew went into surgery, his parents were allowed to see him.
He looked like he was on deathbed. That's what he looked like. He couldn't squeeze my hand, but I held his. And I just told him Mama was there and that I loved him. And I'll be there with him.
He was lying there, helpless. We told him we loved him. We was gonna pray for him. And then we left the room.
Andrew underwent 8 hours of risky surgery to remove bone fragments and blood from his brain and reconstruct his skull and face. He remained in a coma.
The first few days were quite stormy. He had problems with brain swelling, as we expected, and really is the major cause of death in the first few days after this type of injury.
He stayed in ICU for 10 days, and each day he started getting better.
Wake up, Andrew.
Monday, he just got up on his knees and held out his arm. He cried. That was good. I was glad to hear that.
Okay, Stephen. Oh, hey. That's really nice. Andrew. Chad, you hadn't seen it. Come over here.
A year has passed since the accident.
He's doing real good. He's got all his abilities back that he had before. He had to go through therapy for 6 to 8 months to learn how to walk again and talk again. They couldn't believe how fast he poured through this.
We have a saying that trauma is no accident, and we sometimes lose sight of how fragile children are and how just a slip of the mind can result in a disastrous situation.
You got your napkins. Don't let your children play in the car. Lock the doors when you get out.
Chop it up.
Because they're just so dangerous.
Although Andrew has suffered some hearing loss, Dr. Petronio is amazed by his progress.
Hi. Good to see you again.
He's actually done better than we could ever imagine. He looks almost identical to his twin brother.
Hi.
How you doing?
Given how he looked when he first came in and given the concern that we had about whether or not it was even going to be possible to save his life, to see him playing with his twin brother now, I would consider that to be a miracle.
All right. Come on. All right.
I'd like to thank all the people that were out here, the firemen, the police, the helicopter that did fly him to the hospital, and especially Dr. Petronio. He's a great guy. He's super. He saved his life.
Next.
In a canine search, what we do is we allow the handler and the dog to go first, then 1 or 2 deputies will follow.
This is him here.
Midnight, February 19th, 1989. Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputies reporting for duty on the night shift were briefed about a suspect wanted in a series of armed robberies.
Suspect is a male white in his 20s, and he has a split lower lip. The weapon is a handgun. The vehicle is a blue Ford Mustang, a fastback. It was sold by the RO to the suspect.
The vehicle was, I think, early 70s Mustang, and it was rather unique. You don't see many of them around.
Around 2 a.m., Deputy Brian Cunningham was on patrol headed westbound on Somerset Boulevard.
I was approaching Downey Avenue when I saw a blue Ford Mustang backed into a parking space near the front door. I recognized that that was possibly the vehicle in the watch briefing. I got close enough to the car to make a license plate on it, and then I ran the plate via sheriff's radio.
Nora King David.
It was moments later that the suspect walked out of the convenience store. We made eye contact momentarily.
But the plates could not be confirmed. Apparently, the information about the vehicle had not been entered into the computer.
I followed the Mustang because I intended to stop the vehicle. I initiated a traffic stop.
136 boy, ram my suspicious vehicle. I'm making a traffic stop on Somerset Boulevard East of.
I left a little more room between the suspect's vehicle and my radio car than I normally would on any given traffic stop. The suspect started yelling at me as though he was trying to taunt me to come up and talk to him. I saw that he had a scar on his lower lip, which was consistent with the watch briefing that we had been given. He sped off from the traffic stop. It was very, very clear now that I had something and was putting out over the radio that I was in pursuit.
Pursuit is terminated on Hader south of Somerset. Get in the house! 136 boy, I need unit spray of containment.
The female ran into the front door, and the suspect ran behind the house.
Deputy Cunningham immediately radioed for backup units to help contain the area. More than 20 members of the Sheriff's Department converged on the scene under the direction of Sergeant Bob Crew.
I responded to the location. By the time I got there, they already had a containment set up. They had a helicopter overhead, keeping the whole area under surveillance. Because it was a rather large area, it would be almost impossible to search it on foot, so we elected to use a canine unit.
Deputy Phil Geisler and his canine partner, Arco, had been working together for almost 2.5 years. Arco had been specially trained in Holland to assist and protect officers involved in dangerous searches.
Their senses are about 1,200 times as powerful as our sense, smell. They're able to distinguish many odors. As it's been put, that if there was a bowl of vegetable soup there, they can pick out each vegetable.
They arrived at the scene around 2:50 a.m.
We had a pursuit. It terminated over here.
Deputy Geisler was brought up to date and warned that the suspect was presumed to be armed and dangerous.
When I'm doing a search, I know that Arco's going to be the lead man out there. He's going to find the suspect before I will most of the time.
Come on, buddy. Huh? Boy. What? What's the layout look like in the backyard there? Okay, we're going to go ahead and deploy Arco, and we're going to begin our search.
In a canine search, what we do is we allow the handler and the dog to go first, and 1 or 2 deputies will follow to provide backup if he does find a suspect.
You got a couple of sheds and a trailer, a lot of junk in the backyard for someplace to hide, but Arco looks like he's on the garage.
10-4. Check it.
He began working in the yard, attempting to pick up a scent. To me, that was an indication that there's somebody inside the garage area.
Yeah, I can see Arco is still barking at the garage door. The guy's in there. Sheriff's Department, come on out. Send a dog in. If you find you, he'll bite you.
Ryan, I'm going to open up the garage door on this side. I want you to cover me.
We positioned ourselves next to the garage, and Deputy Geisler opened the garage door.
Cover me, Brian.
We were in a bad position. The dog appeared to be confused. Deputy Geisler was trying to order the dog away from me, and he was having a lot of trouble getting the dog to respond to his commands.
Damn it, he's not going in. There he is. Drop the gun! I said drop it! Hello. Gun's in his hand.
When I got to my feet, we began removing pieces of furniture so that we could get access to the suspect and ordered him to drop the gun. He didn't seem to have enough consciousness to respond to our orders at that time.
Yeah, I got him.
And we went in and handcuffed him and retrieved the weapon. We called rescue, and the suspect died before the paramedics got there.
Later on, I found out a lot about the suspect. Found out that his girlfriend had told deputies that he had just got out of jail. He wasn't going to go back. He told her, hey, I'm going to shoot it out with the cops. I'm not going to go back. As I was driving back to Lakewood Station, I heard licking sound. So when I opened up the back door, he kept on licking, and then as he turned his head and looked towards me, I saw that there were what appeared to be 2 bullet wounds with blood on the side of his fur. Arco had been shot.
It's okay, buddy.
We've been together almost nonstop, 24 hours a day. We've been through a lot. I love the dog just as if he was my partner or even my kids.
Arco was rushed to a nearby animal hospital where he was treated by Dr. David Hogue.
He was a very lucky dog. He was easily within an inch of being dead in terms of the entry wounds, especially up in the shoulder area. They were very close to the carotid arteries in the neck region. If they had been towards the center of the body another inch, they would have entered the chest cavity. The bullet would have and probably done grave damage in the chest cavity also.
After 2 weeks of recuperating, Arca was back on the force with his partner.
It proves that a dog can save lives. They're out there, they give it their 110%. If it wasn't for Arca, I think that either another deputy or I wouldn't be here today to tell the story.
On May 15, 1990, the Los Angeles SPCA presented their Special Hero Dog Award to Arca, recognizing his bravery in saving his partner's life.
At the time of retirement, I do get the benefit of keeping Arca. They give me the option, do you want to keep the dog or, do we have to give him away? And of course, being my buddy, my partner, and a friend close to me the way I love my dog, he's going to stay with me. Good boy.
Step out of the car, please.